All right, folks, still trying to get the technical issues sorted out to have Bishop T.D. Jakes talk about the conference that took place, the racial healing conference that took place last week at the Potter's House. Right now, we're going to talk about the President's State of the Union address. Takes place tonight. He will stand before Congress to give a State of the Union. There's no doubt he is going to focus on the economic recovery. There are some other issues that, of course, he will be dealing with, including his community college initiative as well as a tax proposal. And so let's break this down right now with our panel. What should the President talk about? Typically, there is, again, there's a laundry list of issues, but what should he focus on? I want to introduce my panel right now on the show, folks. To my right, if you will, we have Jason Jonhson. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Hiram College, certainly glad to have you here. We also have Lauren Victoria Burke. We have Cleo Manago and Sophia Nelson, who is still getting mic'd up, and so we'll deal with that in a second. So, I want to go right here. So, when it comes to State of the Union, the White House, they always give us a sense of what the President will talk about.
Right.
But what should he talk about?
He should talk about criminal justice and police brutality. I suspect he will not do that. I mean, and if he does, he'll do it in sort of a way that's conciliatory to both police and the victims of police brutality. But quite frankly, I don't see how you're going to get through an hour and 45-minute speech without mentioning something with regard to Ferguson or criminal justice reform.
And obviously, when you look at the various initiatives that Attorney General Eric Holder, that he has been focused on, the different kind of announcements.
Right.
I mean, clearly, if you have your Attorney General talking about these issues,
right,
it has been a dominant issue over the past year. That is a part of, I mean, that deals with the state of our union.
And if you have a policing commission that is about to make some recommendations in March, that's another reason to talk.
Well, I also think it's key. If you look at the guests that the First Lady has this year, she's got 2 people who were in jail. And I think that's the first time we've had guests, who are people who've been in prison. So I can't imagine he's not going to make some reference to this one way or another. You have the young man out in California, you have the guy who was unfairly imprisoned in Cuba. So the President will say something. Will it be something people are satisfied with? We don't know, but I can't imagine he's not going to address criminal justice reform in some way.
Sophia, what do you want to hear the President talk about tonight?
I would like to see him talk about job creation and innovation. I was very encouraged last week when the White House released that they were giving a cybersecurity grant of $25 million to HBCUs, and I think this is really particularly what our community needs to be focused on now. Job creation, innovation in tech, and how we use it to build wealth and more ownership in our community. Certainly, I believe he should talk about criminal justice and those issues, absolutely. And this new proposal on community colleges, we know that's what he's going to talk about, but I'm not nuts about his proposal. It's a Robin Hood proposal, and it's one we've heard a million times. Democrats want to take from the rich, give to the poor, and Republicans want to trickle down. It's all bad. We need to come up with something different.
Well, the community college proposal?
Yeah, no, I like the proposal. I'm saying I don't like how he wants to pay for it.
Well, then again, but if you look at what's happening in Tennessee, though, a Republican legislature, Republican governor signed it into law. 57,000 students said they wanted to be involved with it. That's 90% of all those who graduated from high school. And so he's actually presenting what is a Republican plan right now. And so it's going to be a little hard for Republicans to attack a Republican plan.
Trust me, they're going to do it.
They'll do
it. They'll do it. But it's going to sound a little different. Right. We can say, hey, but what's happening in Tennessee, Senator Bob Corker, Senator Lamar Alexander, Cleo, what do you want to hear the President focus on in his address tonight?
Well, at the risk of being redundant, because everybody's kind of said it, I hope he references the issue of criminal justice and racial imbalance regarding the treatment of people by law enforcement. I can't imagine that occurring from that position during the State of the Union speech, but I can fantasize, because that's what you asked me to do, right? Also,
I asked you to fantasize.
Well, I hope it comes to pass. I'm not a speechwriter yet, but at this point, I can just dream about him actually using that position to talk about the importance of equity around criminal justice and people being treated fairly, and people unlearning the tendencies in law enforcement to keep killing black people. That would be nice. Wouldn't that be nice?
But see, when we talk about that, here's one of the things. When the President first came into office, he signed the law that lowered the disparity between crack cocaine and powder cocaine from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1.
Right.
He should stand before Congress and say, lower it from 18 to 1 to 1 to 1.
Right.
And the second thing is, he has to challenge Congress on this issue of sentencing reform. They say we have too many nonviolent offenders who are in jail. And keep in mind, and if I'm the President, Grover Norquist, big times tax person, something he supports.
Right.
Newt Gingrich, in fact, Republican governors have been very aggressive on this as well. And so here's an opportunity to say, Speaker Boehner, say, of course, Senate Leader McConnell, Republicans are out here on this issue. You also need to stand and change the law now.
Exactly. And the other key thing, and I think this is so important also, given how lousy the ratings have been. I mean, they've been going down every year. People don't want to watch it because he needs to talk about things he knows he can get done. And I think one of the reasons people have become so disappointed and disenchanted with the State of the Union is, you know, it's this laundry list. It's what Dad wants for Christmas, and we know he's just going to get socks. I mean, like, the president needs to say, look, this is the stuff that I want done.
Not even fun socks.
Yeah, exactly. Not even fashionable ones.
Every year.
But I mean, every year it's like, this is what I'm going to do, and then nothing gets done. He needs to focus on 2 or 3 issues.
He's never listed things that he could get done. Last year it was minimum wage, it was equal pay. There was job training. Now, he got a little bit of that done.
But here's the deal, though. He couldn't get minimum wage through Congress, but it got through states.
Exactly.
Well, the whole
it had that impact.
The whole theme of last year was, I'm going to do this without Congress, which to some extent he did for immigration.
Right.
But still, you know, when you talk about these things and you know they're not going to happen because the Republicans obviously are going to stop him, it is sort of an odd, almost like a PR trick of, these are the things, particularly with the free community college issue. I mean, we know that's not going to happen. We know the tax reform package is not going to happen. And we also know this is the same president who agreed to the Bush tax cut extension 2 times in a row. So if you agree to the Bush tax cut extension 2 times in a row, why are you back now trying to raise taxes? I don't understand that. So that's a PR move.
But Roland, here's the thing. This president, let's give him a little bit of credit. He's not Bill Clinton, who I think was the best politician I've ever seen, truly. But I think this president understands that he's got to give a little to get a little, and I really think he's going to get something that he wants out of this. I think that they start over here. I also think Boehner and the Republicans have to be very careful going into 2016 if they are seen as doing nothing and just blockers. So I think they both kind of need each other in an interesting way to get something done.
He should hammer them on the economy. He's doing well on the economy and gas prices. He should hammer them on it.
But here's the deal, though. The reason I'm talking about the whole idea of sentencing reform, because you have leading Republicans and again, their motive has been
voting rights.
But again, their motive has been fiscal.
Yes.
And so my deal is, you tie the issue of nonviolent offenders to us spending so much money, tie it also to the economy, the fact that when they get out, they can't get a job. And so all of this all comes together.
He should mention the Rand Paul, Cory Booker bill, the REDEEM Act. He should endorse that publicly. That's exactly what you just said with regard to the expungement of people's records for nonviolent felonies. That's an easy thing to do.
Also, I think one thing that he should do, and I know that Congressman Clyburn has been trying to get him and the administration to publicly back this for 5 years, and that is the 10-20-30 rule. Congressman Clyburn's rule, he wants to say 10% of government resources, when they pass the bill, goes to those counties where 20% or more of the people have been living below the poverty line for 30 years.
That's right.
3/4 of those counties are Republican counties.
Well,
exactly.
I mean, look, what he's actually going to propose, and again, all of these things we're saying are great. The issue is going to be, again, what does the president actually think he can get done? Because if he wants to do this all through executive order, it would be fantastic. I just don't necessarily think that President Obama is inclined to do that. That's why I think a smaller focus on what's actually going to get done is better.
If it's a speech about what you can get done, he wouldn't be saying anything. The Republicans, of course, are against him on everything. So it's the idea that
there are things he can do. There are things he can do. Like I said, we saw it with immigration reform. We saw it with some environmental. We saw it with waterways.
He did it on his own by executive order. He had to do it on his own.
But here's the deal, Cleo, and this is what really jumps out for me, and that is, when you talk about an issue such as, again, sentencing reform, or when it comes to tying it to the economy, you are operating in a situation where you say, Republicans, please tell me why it's a bad idea. And you look to the American people and say, this is costing us billions of dollars that we simply can be putting into the economy. You challenge them that way. And then all of a sudden, now they're in a situation going, uh-oh.
Well, there you go again, being rational. I've got in the case about that before. That's a rational and very intelligent position, but you know, Republicans sometimes are not rational. They have an agenda they don't always articulate, but what comes out is that we don't get what we want in terms of the people generally, and people who are typically under the radar regarding support by the government in this country.
Sophia, the thing that when I had Reince Priebus on this show, when I had then interim NAACP CEO Lorraine Miller on this show. This is what I said, very simple. I said, if you're Republicans and you have Republican governors who are out there on this issue of criminal justice reform, you should say, NAACP, we will stand with you and stand with us.
They're not that bright, Roland.
No, hold on. You're missing something.
Intelligence.
You're missing something. The question is, will the NAACP do it?
Well,
see, because there's a lot of black folks who don't necessarily want to stand Republicans. And what I'm saying is, we also have to say, all right, fine. We'll stand with you on this one. Will you stand with us?
But I think that is a great point. And when I say they're not bright enough, I'm saying the Republicans or Reince Priebus, who I'm sure you said this to on the show, doesn't have enough good sense to go back and actually do something like that, because it would put the NAACP in a very interesting position to have to do or don't, which, as you said, would raise the specter and the ire of a lot of black folks. Like, well, what's up with that? Why wouldn't they do that? So,
yeah, but the point I'm making is, what's important to us is the issue or is it the optics? My whole deal is, I don't care if I'm standing with Republicans on this issue. If you got brothers and sisters who are not going to jail for these nonviolent offenses, and that's also saving taxpayer money, which we can put in education, which we can put when it comes to primary, secondary, and college as well, I say you actually go for it. But again, I think if you're the president, you be that bold and actually say it. Hold tight 1 second. We're going to pick up this conversation more again, dealing with what should the president say in tonight's State of the Union address. What do you want to hear in tonight's State of the Union address? We'll break it down for you 20 after the hour. This is News One Now, TV One.